Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Crypto Archives podcast. Today, we have with us Crypto Twitter's straightest user, a longtime DeFi investor, maybe trader as well. I'm not entirely sure. We'll get to know that today. But I'd like
I'm
to
gay.
welcome Mr. Hardwood himself to the Crypto Archives podcast. So, hello, sir.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me, Chris.
Nice to have you on, man. Um, So let's just get into your background a little bit because I'm sure a lot of people would love to know the story behind the legend himself.
Yeah, definitely. It might not be like totally clear because at this point I'm on my second Twitter account, hence the second underscore in my name. Um, and it's been a lot of years. So yeah, like what?
Yeah, you're
Oh shit, I don't even
pretty.
remember. Like 3 or 4? No, 4 years. Yeah, four since
You've
I started
been.
Hardwood.
So the Hardwood Twitter, the new one, you had it for 3 or 4 years, or the old one as well?
No, the old one as well. Like when
Mm.
I joined CT. I didn't even think it would be that big at first. I just like kind of started shit posting with what I do normally in real life already. And we've met in person.
We have,
You
yeah.
know that I act really gay in real life as well. Although I was very sick at the time, I was still pretty gay. It's just sort of been this like bit that I've done since like high school,
Oh, okay.
which is like a long time, around half my life at this point. Half my life
Dedicated
ago,
guy.
I should say.
Mm.
Yeah. So I just kind of kept doing it. Eventually, it got to the point where like every social interaction that I have online or in real life tends to be colored by my preference for gay humor.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
people like it, so I'm being enabled here. I'm being enabled to become gay.
I think it works very well on crypto Twitter. Like I remember when I saw your account initially, I thought you were kind of doing what DJ Spartan was trying to do, where he would post like degenerate like stuff for 90% of his timeline, and then 10% would be like really good alpha, and then that was like a kind of a good way to like foster the type of people that you wanted
People
in
made
your
that
following.
comparison previously, but I think these days it's more accurate to just characterize my account as like 100% gay posting.
Yeah,
Sometimes
just purely gay
anime
posting.
posting and like just barely even related to crypto at all. Because I don't know, like you do this for 3 or 4 years and you'll get like kind of tired of it. And at this point, it's like CT is not terribly interesting for me.
Mm.
I actually prefer all the things on my tweet apart from CT.
Oh wow.
Just on like 99% of every day, and that's not to say like the content is bad or anything, because then I just wouldn't follow at all. It's just like
Mm.
it's just gay sex. That's
Right.
that's the only way I can express it. It's gay sex.
Mm.
So that's all I tweet now. I just quote tweet people and I say gay sex. Because that's what it is. It's gay sex.
Yeah, and it looks like people just, they know you on the timeline now. You have a decent following already. People who appreciate your hard work, so that's
Somehow,
always.
even though I've like just devolved into a gay sex poster, there's still this market for a guy who posts gay sex all the time and very little else. I guess maybe
Yeah.
that's just like part of what CT
It's
culture
like a
is, though.
yeah.
Like heckling.
It's like a very strange social experiment, but
Because,
working
like,
out.
CT, you have everybody interacting together on this, like, common app. There's, like, no additional privileges or anything. So it's really, like, you can just say whatever you want. Like, Solana
That's
founder
true.
one day is going to be, like, quote tweeting somebody and, like, starting a fight on the timeline about how, like, I don't know, how it's not as bad as people said it was, or how it's really good, whatever floats your boat.
Hmm.
At the same time, like there's gonna be somebody in the comments who's like, acting egregiously gay.
And that's gonna be you,
Oh, not just me.
or just anybody in general, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's other people who do gay shit now. That I think that's gotta be the most um unexpected thing for me. It like just other people somehow thought it was okay to like just act as gay or more gay, and sometimes I don't have a good response for that except just saying gay sex.
Interesting. Okay, well, maybe we can talk a little about your like crypto journey and how you got into like DeFi and stuff. How did you start out as like an investor? What drew you into the space?
Sure. So I started in like 2019 when I was just straight up losing money, and I kept like losing more money until I had no money each time, and then like I had this cycle of begging for more money and losing it again. Until like DeFi summer hit, which for a lot of people was their first chance to make actual money, including people who started with no money at all. Because airdrops actually used to be really good at that time. Like anybody could get it. There wasn't this huge culture of farming airdrops. Um, and there were people who actually buy the tokens, so your airdrops could be cashed out for something.
Hmm.
So I did that. Started not losing money. Um, Eventually, I ended up in like Dubai, where I got really deeply depressed and like kind of directionless for a while because I didn't know like if you make a lot of money or what feels to you like what is a lot of money really fast with very little work put in. Um, these things happen sometimes.
Hmm.
Then I lost some money, I lost some weight, and here I am trying to make my money back without making my weight back.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, just so you were in Dubai, was that for work? Was that just relocation because you preferred it, or is that too
Oh,
personal?
the why I was in Dubai?
Hmm.
That was just because I had friends there, but like also, um, like I'm a big Coomer. I don't know
Okay.
how to express this other than just saying that. So Dubai has a lot of things that are helpful
Okay.
if you are like that.
So, okay, you are, yeah,
I
interesting.
mean, it's Dubai. I don't think we can
Right.
talk about this in another
No,
way.
you're right. That is true. Well, interesting. So your start was basically in DeFi summer, then, and did you get into like more investing or trading at the time, or even building? I know now you're building some projects. You're involved with growing a few projects. So how's that journey been like?
So for me, it's always been like a bit of everything since practically like 2020. All like when I started making some money, like I would do a little bit of work for projects because it's a good way to use your time as well as get alpha. A little bit of investing, write some multiples. Also a little bit of like active DeFi use here and there because it's useful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then some like private deals. I think so. To answer your question more succinctly, it's like I just do whatever makes money at the time.
And like, what has your strategy been for trading and investing so far? Are you like
It was very different last cycle. I have to say that. It feels like this time around, um, it's harder to find things that have like that keep going up for a long time. Um, So I haven't like really adjusted as well to that as I like on the investing and trading side. Um, so this time around, I've been doing more DeFi as a user rather than an investor.
Hmm. And that's like a good segue to talk about Cat Protocol, maybe, right? Which is one of your projects right now that you're building out.
Yeah.
Um,
Basically, Cat Protocol is one of the products of Team Cat, who are a bunch of anonymous cats on the internet. And actually, their first product that they're rolling out is going to be under collateralized loans, and it'll be called MortgageFi. Um, so that's coming out sometime next month. Um, yeah, it's like we before we had trouble having really like creditless under collateralized loans in DeFi because how do you even do such a thing? Um, I kind of like what the way that they've done it. So
mm.
yeah.
And you are on the team. You founded the project, or
Oh no, not
you
at
just?
all. I'm an advisor. Um, yeah, and I've been adding value for like BD,
Mm.
like raising money, helping with common sense. I feel like my biggest strength in general is just having common sense.
And reasonable thinking. Interesting. It's interesting that this is how you've ended up. But yeah, I mean you're pretty smart about like DeFi and ETH every time I've talked to you. So it's yeah, I
About
could
ETH,
definitely.
you want to
I
talk
mean ETH
about
as well.
ETH?
We could talk about
I
ETH.
think see I think you can't talk about DeFi without talking about ETH
Oh, for
because
sure.
like a lot of DeFi is denominated in ETH, especially DeFi tokens, which are basically almost all like paired with ETH in
Mm,
like dexes. Um, and like the main use case for ETH is smart contracts, of which DeFi is like one of the major applications.
right.
But like I don't know, ETH has been underperforming this cycle.
Yeah, especially like recently, it feels like.
Yeah, it was like it's so depressing to see the ETH BTC chart, and yet I still own ETH because I need to use it every day. I don't know
Right.
what's going on exactly, but so for some reason we only hear about the ETH Foundation when they're selling. It seems like.
Yeah,
Did you see the Vitalik's bull post?
I did. Yeah.
I feel like somebody had to have asked him like privately, "Can you please bull post?" And he just didn't want to do it, so he did this like ironic take
Yeah.
on, you know,
Yeah.
but that's what I don't understand. If he owns ETH, then why doesn't he want to like shill his own bags, for
Right.
lack of better words? I think there's like I don't know what exactly happened, but I feel like there's some kind of cultural problem
Mm.
from like in people who own a lot of ETH and have some say in like deciding what happens to Ethereum.
Mm. I think
So yeah,
I think like ETH Foundation maybe and like the people kind of leading the ETH space, at least in terms of development, don't really like to. They kind of like to separate themselves from other projects with the like relentless shilling and like like kind of bag bias type of like posting. And
right.
they want
But
to
that's why like I think doesn't make sense because on one hand you have, for example, like Solana people who relentlessly bull post and even like start beef on
mm,
Twitter about
yeah.
their own bags. And I think that's because they understand that, bull posting drives network effects, which in turn drives more people to actually use and invest in um, like your product.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
So
If
it's
you
like you
have
can't really
crypto
have
investors,
the tech without the shilling, and you
right,
can't. Although you obviously can't have shilling without. I mean, you can. You can have shilling without tech. It just looks a lot different.
right. Yeah, and actually, like, definitely feels like the marketing aspect is a lot of the times even more important than the product, just due to the fact that like there's so many products at all times. Obviously, ETH is like distinguished as like a much better product than other stuff,
I
but
wonder if that will change over time as like crypto sort of matures more and more, because at this point it's still like highly reflexive. Um,
mm,
like in a bull market, TVL goes up, price goes up, like everybody's happy, and then like sort of when you just chop around or like when the number starts going down,
hmm
it's like that just goes away so fast, and it takes some time to get it back up there again.
yeah. Although for ETH, I still have like pretty strong conviction. I think it's just a matter of time. There's just too much attention on the ecosystem, too many people building, too much money flowing through, like too many protocols that exist that actually offer something useful. And there's like hundreds of other chains that like in theory are technically better. They do some things better either through like scaling or security or whatever other way, but they just don't have the same like network effects of Ethereum at the moment, and they just don't have the same sort of community. And I think that probably matters most out of any other thing that you could really build for a project is that community element. So,
Yeah, I just hope the community actually translates to like people actually doing
right,
something to make the number go up.
bidding it. Well, that's like that's what we're hoping for now with the ETF. Like, we got the rate cuts yesterday. People need to become more risk on as rates get cut, right? Treasuries don't pay out as much. So, that might be ETH. ETH is like much higher
I
upside
think if
than
every number
BTC.
goes up, ETH will certainly go up as
Absolutely,
well.
yeah.
It's just like, how do they make it within crypto an attractive crypto investment? And to me, that's like not super clear, but it's also early. I agree to
Mm,
like just say that it's not happening. I hope it does happen.
yeah. I think there's a lot of like reasons why TradFi would like ETH as an investment, maybe a lot more than Bitcoin. Once they do look at it more and give it more attention, there's like there's a lot of like revenues and fees from DeFi protocols that you could capture, right? In theory, one singular protocol, one singular project can account for a lot of revenue on the entire network. And
Yeah, I think ETH with ETH and DeFi as an extension of that, yield is like basically one of the most major applications that you can like
for sure,
reliably sell to or market to people.
yeah, absolutely. And it seems like Bitcoin really doesn't have that yet. I think some people are trying to do yield on Bitcoin in various ways, but it's not as built out as Ethereum. Ethereum has like crazy people building like restaking, like
Well, now
yield
you have
aggregators,
restaking for
and
Bitcoin as well, right?
yeah, that's happening.
Although I'm not sure whether we should call it restaking or
Yeah,
just
I'm not
regular
sure either.
staking.
I'm not sure either. That ecosystem is strange to me for now. I got to do more research
But
on
I
that, but
think like there's this idea in common that if you can design something that goes up slowly over time and like consistently, that's in itself an attractive like use case because
right.
not only does that happen, but you also have people speculating on the rate at which it will go up. You have
Mm,
people getting in or out, which produces fees for liquidity providers.
right.
You have all these like different ways for people to lose money as well as make money. And when people are losing money and making money, there's a reason to actually participate.
Mm, right. I mean, it's more liquidity. So,
Well, not just more liquidity, it's like more profit opportunity, I
right,
think.
right.
Yeah.
You're trading if you're trying to get in markets. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to talk about some of your convictions in the space and like what you find valuable? What keeps you around?
Well, I'm here to make money.
Okay.
I suppose I'm rather bad at it because I'm still here, but that's what keeps me around. Uh, did you have anything more specific that you wanted me to
Maybe
talk on?
what are you gonna do once you make that money? Once you made
Oh
it?
yeah. Well, I'd like to actually own a house. Maybe I can make video games if I really have a lot of money.
Mm,
I just don't think like it's good to pursue something that's not making money if you don't have enough money yet, because what tends to happen and what I've seen a lot is that you have to ask for money from people who may or may not give it, and it
right.
may come attached with conditions that you may not necessarily want to deal with.
Yeah, money gives you freedom
I
at
do
the
enjoy
very
video
least.
games a lot, so there's that. These days, I've been increasingly spending more time playing video games outside of crypto Twitter because
Mm,
it's just gay sex right now.
yeah, it's pretty dead. And sentiment is not great, but you know, Alt's pumped yesterday. That was interesting.
I didn't see it.
And
I'll
majors
have
as
to go
well.
back and like see what happened.
I'm
It
not
sounds
like
like ETF or not ETF. Like rate cuts or something. I don't even know.
yeah, there's the whole thing about like 25 bips versus 50 and like how it was bearish.
Yeah,
And then
wasn't there
March
a letter
immediately pumped
about
into it.
how it should be like 100 or something?
I have no idea.
Like
But
something signed by Elizabeth Warren.
I mean anything signed by Elizabeth Warren is suspicious. You know what I mean? So there's like I remember tweeting or like seeing a tweet that out of almost every single bill she'd proposed, only like one had passed or something crazy. So it seems like she's
Yeah,
kind
but
of
I
like
think
a
that's like kind of indicative of, people actually having fears that there might be a recession or that we are already in a recession even.
yeah,
Um, which is like sort of the way it always goes, right? Like everybody always asks, how bad can it really get? And I feel like the best answer to that is as bad as it gets before it can get better, because at that point, then you know people are actually forced to step in and do something about that. Maybe that's what ends up happening coincidentally with like ETH BTC.
mm,
Just how bad can it really get?
maximally bad. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Are you like a macro guy at all? Do you
No,
enjoy those macro podcasts?
I don't listen to many podcasts at all.
Mm.
I just I just find it like so gay to put on your headphones and listen to a man talk in your ear for like half an hour. I can't deal with it.
Yeah, I mean that's better to make it than to listen to it, right?
Yeah,
At the
definitely.
very least. Yeah. Um. So let's see what else is there. Do you want to talk about Kex at all?
Yeah, so Kex is a token for Kira Network. What that is basically this hyper modular like next gen modular blockchain, and I've been helping them with some like the writing, official writing, to like explain how it works um, in a human language. I went to a conference where I talked to everybody about Kira, so that was pretty cool. I got to meet a
That
bunch
was
of people
Denver
in person.
this year,
Yep,
right?
yep, and I got like super sick from that, but it was all good. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still doing that. They've been building in preparation for a mainnet soon. Probably like sometime next year, if I had to guess. You never know with like development time,
Mm.
because it always takes a bit longer at the end. Um, there's these like partnerships that they've been doing on the back burner with various projects. Cause like okay, um, you have all these like modular blockchains and L2s, but I think what really makes or breaks um, like a network is just whether you have people actually using it, and for that you need like applications. You need to talk to people to actually come build there, and that's sort of
Right.
what has been happening.
Building partnerships. Yeah. Can you like talk about what Cura actually is and kind of what it does?
Yeah, I guess the main like thing with modular blockchains, right, is you have execution that's um, separate from like data availability uh, and verification, which is like finality, like settlement. People have different words for it.
Mm.
Because what happens on ETH, for example, on a monolithic blockchain like Ethereum mainnet, is uh, when something is being, when a transaction is being like confirmed, everybody has to repeat that, and that makes the um, that makes network expensive and like slow to like actually use.
Mm.
Um, so instead, you have modular blockchain designs like Celestia, which is built for data availability, which they separate from settlement, because they do it their own like own way of doing things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because like because I guess the real reason we even have any of this is because you need better blockchains to service more advanced applications. That's the heart of the matter. You need better blockchains to service more advanced, more resource intensive applications, and that's the reason why Kira Network exists.
Mm-hmm.
Because if, for example, you wanted to run an AI like actually on the blockchain, an AI application, um, like you need a better blockchain. You absolutely cannot do that on Ethereum mainnet.
Interesting. Okay. And is the modular like element the single type of like change? Because I remember reading about like Kira and it having like a few different features that were interesting. Do you guys have like a custom EVM as well,
Oh yeah,
or
so
a custom virtual
it
machine
doesn't.
for?
It's not and like you could build an EVM as an application on Kira, which we call Kira L2s or roll apps. But Kira itself is not an EVM. The experience would be similar to using an EVM, so people can adapt and adjust quickly. Like you'll be able to use MetaMask on Kira, for example, and like do everything that you would on MetaMask like you would in an EVM. But in the background, it's not an EVM.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting.
I think
Okay.
I think it's interesting because like you have all these like different EVM networks, L2s, alt L1s who copied EVM. I won't name any, but there's a lot.
Yeah.
And you have ETH mainnet, and it's like I think there's something sticky there where people who got used to using EVM find it extremely easy to adapt to Alt L1s or L2s, for example. But you're still, in the end, you're still limited by what's possible on EVM.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I feel like the way that this has been approached in Kira is maybe more attractive, because instead of just doing another EVM with different adjustments, like instead what's being emulated is the experience of using an EVM and building. Well, not building on an EVM. Building on Kira would be easier because you wouldn't have to build for the EVM itself. But what has been emulated is the experience of using an EVM, which I think is the real reason why you have so many sticky users between Alt L1s and L2s and ETH mainnet.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's so easy to just go on chain list and like add a network
Yeah.
for wherever you want to go and just bridge there.
Hmm. For sure.
I think that's probably one of the biggest strengths of EVM.
Right. And they already have all the tooling and kind of infrastructure built out, so it's like easily applicable to whatever new chain pops up. So,
Yeah, and it's all this like very similar,
right.
so you can just like people understand at this point. Enough people understand what is gas, and gas is this like common shared concept, for example. So like
Right.
there's no like huge learning curve to get
Right.
into a new
That helps.
L1.
That makes sense. Um, so, unless there's some other things you want to mention about Kira, I do have another question,
Sure.
which will be, are there any like primitives or ideas that are being built out right now in crypto that you find really exciting and you want to see more built out, more developed?
Well, I'd be lying if I didn't like mention under collateralized loans, which we
Mm-hmm.
briefly touched on earlier. I think that's really cool. I think the entire like LRT space it's probably the most interesting we have going on in DeFi right now.
For sure,
That's
yeah.
not to say it's like terribly interesting, because um, the number goes up very slowly.
Right.
So to people who don't necessarily want to own ETH and watch their amount of ETH go up very slowly, it's maybe not that immediately interesting.
Mm.
But I do think LRTs, for example, unlock a level of like yield composability that we haven't really explored that much before. Because you had LSTs, which sort of did that before, but like the way that was printing money for people was uh, was even like slower, as well as like um, mostly dominated really by like a few major um, like leaders,
Yeah.
like Lido. I don't remember like how much percent they have of all staked ETH TVL, but it was a lot,
Yeah.
and it got to the point where people were starting to worry about it. So
Right.
yeah.
Centralization. Let's actually check this. I'm curious. Yeah, it used to be. Lido remains the front runner, holding 69.85% of the total 13.9 million ether. Okay, this is like a headline from 2 days ago.
Oh, 69%. That's a
It's
lot.
like really high. Their dominance is down slightly from a month ago. Yeah, that whole space is very cool. But you're definitely right about like it being very boring for like smaller
I
participants.
think the reason it might be boring, apart from like occasional launches on, say, like Fjord, for example, where tokens can get go up very fast in a short
Right.
time, is really because like a lot of us are disillusioned right now about like I guess tokens, just
Right.
like buying tokens because we've had this entire bear market where people farmed and dumped tokens on like any token buyers or even LPs who are passive buyers, and it's sort of hard to get away from that right now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this whole market feels like, at least the last few months, unless you were like trading Bitcoin or Solana stuff, and you're on Ethereum trying to do like LRTs, the kind of meta was just trying to farm as much as you possibly could and hoping for multiples that way. But in general, it was like not a lot of stuff pumped significantly where people would get like ridiculously rich.
I think some stuff did pump significantly, but not for like necessarily a very long time.
Mm, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean
So
relative to
unless
like
like you're
last
trying to
cycle.
do that, um, those like short time frame trades,
Right,
it's kind of difficult to make money.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, we'd all love a 2021 style mania again, I think. But I doubt it comes anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe that time was like mainly because we had COVID stimulus.
Yeah. People are at home with a bunch of money, bored, so, that does help.
At the same time, I'm not sure it has to be like the way it is right now, um, until like 2025 or 2026. It feels like the vibes are very bad right now. I can say that much.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my timeline is also like a lot of ETH people who love to complain that ETH is underperforming. So that's a little rough as well.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Because like you have all these people who complain, but at the same time, nothing is like concretely being really done to address this
Mm,
vibes issue or whatever you
right,
want to call it. As like as well as like they keep complaining and don't take the loss.
right.
So it's like,
It's just
what do we
a
do?
never-ending suffering. Yeah. And there's like a lot of ways to make money, like over the last year, right? Like Solana ecosystem was pretty nuts. And then like March of this year, everything was like doing very well.
Yeah, for sure. Even if you own ETH, I think there's a lot of ways to make money
Yeah.
using that.
But we're just in a perpetual chop and drop. So,
Right, but like not everybody has the means or knowledge to do that. So
right.
like it also at the same time also makes sense why the vibes are so bad. Like if you just held your ETH and didn't even stake it or didn't even do anything with it, you would not even have a coping mechanism right now. You'd just be
Yeah.
down bad.
Yeah, for sure.
At least the rest of us can still cope.
Right. Well, before we finish, I also wanted to ask you one last question, and that is about the good old FGC capital. Like, for those who are uninitiated, FGC is a group chat slash capital management firm. There's a few assets under management at FGC, but basically, it's a few people on crypto Twitter who like actively trade or invest or are just active in DeFi and other stuff. And it seems like you were one of the first people in that group. So maybe give us the details on that. How did FGC come about?
So I was definitely not one of the first people there, but I was invited at some point during the bear market to join FGC. and I think since I joined, it's been becoming more and more gay. But
You
we just
definitely
sort of shit
gayified it,
post
yeah.
and like talk about like crypto in
Mm.
there.
Yeah, I think we might have some more people from FGC on because there's a lot of interesting fellas in that group chat.
Oh
FGC
yeah,
people, if you're watching this, let me know. Let me know and we'll have you on.
big FGC guy for sure.
Absolutely. All right,
So
well,
Chris, what does FGC stand for again?
we can't talk about that unfortunately.
Oh, okay,
But
sure.
it's a decent place to be, I suppose. But yeah. Um well, thanks for coming on, Mr. Hardwood. It's been a pleasure talking to you and getting to know about your perspective crypto. Hopefully
Yep.
we'll have you on
Thank you
again.
as well. I'm not sure if like I was able to really share anything useful, but
I think
I'm
people
gay,
just
so
yeah, people just wanted to maybe get to know you, so this has been helpful. The first Hardwood interview on the internet, you know.
it's not the first.
It's
But
not the first?
thank you for doing it. I'm
Okay.
gay.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Yep, gay sucks.